What happens if artificial intelligence fails?
Um,
What if robots become sentient? Should they be granted robot rights?
This is a question for the ages, and we're only half joking.
What happens if artificial intelligence fails?
Right now, we are in a little bit of an AI bubble. And what that means is that there is probably an overhyping of the capabilities of AI right now and on what the next set of advancements is going to bring us. We saw a exponential growth in the usage and the power of AI, but the reality is every single exponential curve is not actually an exponential curve. It's an S curve with an exponential aspect to it. Now, maybe we're inside of a space like we've been with Moore's Law, where no one innovation keeps us on that exponential curve. Instead, we're in a space where we can find many innovations that stack S curves on top of each other, and that leads to continuous ongoing exponential growth. But eventually, things always die down. And I think that right now we're in a position where we are reaching the top of some of those S curves. And so what does that mean if we've overhyped it? If we've overhyped the next AI phenomenon? Well, I think that a lot of investment inside the space is going to fall out. However, if we look at something like the dot-com bubble burst, the amount of investment that went into the internet at that time was important for what the internet eventually became. There was a hype cycle, but that enable the investment. The same thing with the railroad companies inside of America. There was a bubble when it came to building out the rail system, but it was instrumental for the future of the nation. Or is going to be something closer to the 2008 financial crisis, where it was just an overhype that didn't actually productively invest capital. From my perspective, AI is already building tremendous value. The way we're measuring AI improvements is in how it solves logic puzzles, not in how it actually helps our day-to-day life, such as customized messaging or problem solving or brainstorming. Already, AI is great for these tools. And so I think that AI can't fail because it's already succeeded. And if we're just investing in making sure that we get AI at scale and at a cheap price for what we already are using it for, it's going to continue to have big financial and economic ramifications in the positive for most of the world. What I do worry about a little bit is how fragile our chip making systems are. And if we can't produce the same amount of silicon, how will we continue to scale AI? And that's a question made for macroeconomists. But I think that it's kind of a silly question to ask if AI will fail, because it's already here and it's already succeeding.
What if robots become sentient? Should they be granted robot rights?
This is a question for the ages, and we're only half joking. Philosophers can disagree. I'm personally of the camp of Jeremy Bentham, which is that intelligence is not the marker of value, but instead suffering. Jeremy Bentham, one of the world's first pro-animal rights philosophers. And I would apply the same thing to AI, which matters less if AI becomes sentient or intelligent and more if it becomes conscious, which maybe they're using that word as a synonym here, but it's really a question of whether or not it becomes conscious. And that's a big problem because we don't know how we're conscious. We don't even know how to measure that. And so that's a really big question. But even if we do somehow prove beyond a shadow of doubt that they are conscious, if we just program them not to suffer, then that is a very interesting move that we don't really have inside of Mother Nature. And so I do think it's a very hard question, but I think that we're still a long way off from having to answer it. Why would you choose Apollo instead of using LinkedIn? Apollo has a lot more filters that really help you narrow down your target market even further. Though I would warn you that if you can get away with using LinkedIn, that you probably should, because LinkedIn